start right in with Frank Lautenberg. He was 89 years old. He's been serving since 2008, excuse me. He had planned to retire from the Senate when his term was up in 2014. He had left the Senate, I guess, about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, after first coming in back in the 90s, early 90s, was it? And his second turn in the Senate, he was, in some respects, better from a progressive standpoint. He was a guy with little seniority at that in the second go-round, but he did his best to stir things up. He had announced, or I should say, he had pursued improving federal gun safety laws. He had looked for federal resources to help New Jersey in terms of Sandy. And he was also reforming U.S. chemical safety laws by working through a bipartisan sort of group to modernize the Toxic Substance Control Act, which basically said we need to know what pollutants companies are putting into our environment. So Lautenberg gone. The question now, and it appears that as far as Lautenberg is concerned, of filling that seat, Christie is tasked now with appointing an interim acting senator who then would face a special election presumably in November. You would have it at the same time. It becomes a little bit tricky for Christie at this point because he is up for re-election in this year, 2013. And those are one of those elections where you don't want too much activity going on because Christie assumes he will win. And the size of his victory will be significant when he decides whether or not he's going to run in 2016 for the presidency. If you appoint a Democrat, say someone like Cory Booker, who I think people should know, regular listeners of this program should know at this point that I see Cory Booker as perhaps a nice guy, but also with an incredible corporatist streak. And at this day and age, I think that's one of the worst things that Democrats can add to. So you've got Lautenberg, who was in, I should say, from 82 until the mid-90s, I believe it was, or early 2000. And came back about, I guess, 6 years later after
Torricelli
had
to quit. The previous Senator Robert Torricelli had to quit because of a corruption investigation.
Surprise, surprise. And so the question is, will Christie appoint Booker, thereby theoretically bringing out less Democrats in 2013? Because Booker will be the presumptive favorite to hold that seat until 2014, scaring off probably a lot of competition. In the event that Christie appoints a Republican, Booker will be running in 2013, presumably, because he would want that advantage to build his campaign leading into 2014. He would want that advantage, and he would drive more Democrats out to the polls in 2013, cutting into Christie's lead, assuming that Christie would win because his poll numbers are pretty good in New Jersey. And Christie doesn't want that because he wants a blowout to show that he can appeal across the board to Americans. despite the fact that chances are he's going to drop out of the 2016 presidential sweeps the day after New Hampshire, would be my guess.